let's talk about our next panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, which is titled Smart Mobility and Manufacturing, the Viksit Bharat Ecosystem. And to steer this conversation, may I invite once again on stage our moderator this evening, Manav Sinha, editor, Times Drive. And with him, we are getting also our esteemed panelists joining him, Kavita Verma, who is the CEO, Maxwell Energy Systems. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the applause running. We have Uday Narang, who is the founder, chairman of Omega Seiki Mobility. And we also have Naveen Gupta, founder, TREV Mobility. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Manav, the stage is yours.
Once again, thank you to all of you for taking our time tonight. Viksit Bharat Ecosystem. There's a lot of layers within this name itself, but as today we've spoken about the future, we've spoken about EVs, we've spoken about battery. Kavita, I would like to start with you. Battery management systems and battery manufacturing is definitely at the epicenter of whatever we do going forward. So what do you think India needs to do to be globally competitive in this space?
All right. First of all, thank you for inviting for this discussion. It's a pleasure to be sitting with the esteemed panel members. When we are talking about the EV technology and we talked about the battery management system and other electronics components, certainly they come at the center of the EV vehicle actually, right? And while we are talking about the battery management system in context to the batteries, and lot is involving and evolving with respect to the chemistries, with respect to the cell technology, see what can bring India into the global competitiveness is how actually the batteries are being engineered, managed, and put it in the vehicles, right? That's where battery management systems, they play a very crucial role, because what we at Maxwell Energy Systems also, which is the 100% subsidiary of Endurance Technologies, what we ensure that we create an intelligence layer around the batteries so that we assure the safety, reliability, and the real-time performance. So it is very crucial to invest into the R&D technologies of these important electronic systems, and also bring the R&D in-house within India, because what is happening right now that we are actually integrating the imported technologies, and most of the EV system is right now dependent on the lot of imported components as well as the technology, and having these IPs in-house within India and investing on the R&D side, that is something which will bring us into the global leadership and this global competitiveness. Also, it becomes very important that the supply chain, which is right now making us more dependent, how we can actually encourage the lot of startups ecosystem within India, where we can talk about how we can reinvent the components, how we can talk about the second life of the EV vehicles, the batteries, recycling. So all these things are very important. We are at a very important step right now into the EV technology side, but there is a way to go, and developing, I mean, right from the design till manufacturing, if the important EV components can be done in-house, that is where we can have a pivotal positioning in the India itself. That's my take.
Thank you. So, Uday, you also have a large setup for manufacturing a lot of the vehicles that we see on the road. What are your thoughts on this? And do you think localization is the key to having a Viksit Bharat ecosystem in the future?
Well, first of all, really glad to be here, and thank you, Times Drive, to put such great events. Look, I think, first of all, what I want to say is, where we are today with, we've been in this game now for almost a decade, almost 8 years since I got involved in green energy sustainability, put about 25,000 vehicles on the ground already across this country and a lot more internationally. I think what's important is that clearly in the two-wheelers, the three-wheelers, and the one-ton trucks, I think the TCO model works. And unfortunately, we're in an environment where Mr. President is going to play games all across this world, and we're going to see high energy prices. I think when you talk about being local, and I want to talk about this because this extremely, extremely important subject is we need to be energy independent. You know, in India, we're primarily, I don't know how much, you know me, I speak my mind. We are very reactive, right? When we had, I mean, we know that importing cells from China, or we're going to import magnets from China. Why are we so reactive? Why are we not proactive, right? And at the end of the day, where oil prices, I spent 30 years in the US and Europe, I was a big commodity trader, oil is going to stay high, right? So the total cost ownership model for these vehicles, more and more EV and alternate energy is going to come into play because the total cost ownership model works. On top of that, obviously, great to see the government of Delhi say in 2027 it's going to be all three-wheelers, and in 2028 it's only going to be two-wheelers EV. So that's a really, really big push. Localization is extremely important. Now, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We've got to make sure that we have enough alliances, but we've got to make sure that, you know, whether it's BMS, whether it's batteries, whether it's technology, whether it's powertrains, motors, we have the capabilities to be able to not be so dependent of importing. Look, I mean, Mr. President tells us, you know, going to make America great again. Well, we've got to make India, you know, continuously great. So having control over the supply chain, having control over all of this is an extremely important, and how are we going to be able to make EVs or alternatives? We have to have scale. It's clearly, anybody comes up to me and says, I've got this idea. My only thing is, can you scale it up? Because if only you'll be able to scale it up, you're going to be able to get a positive pat, right? You can't burn money and then just keep building businesses. So you're absolutely right. Manufacturing has to be smart, technology-oriented. The world is changing, and localization is extremely important, in my view.
Sharad, talking about ownership, you're very active in the shared mobility space. Where do you see that going, and do you think it's making a difference today? Do you think you've got a longer road to go ahead, or do you think we are on a good path in the coming future?
First of all, thanks for inviting TREV to this elite platform. We are just a 2-year-old company, and just talking about your question, definitely smart and shared mobility will move the India for the next decade, right? So let me break this down into 2 role plays. At one segment you have the first and the last mile issue, which is still persistent, in metros and non-metros, very, very evidently, right? So while the government has invested a lot in building your metros and your bus networks and all, but that shared mobility, let it be EV cabs, let it be ride-hailing companies, or let it be micro mobility players, they have to fill in that gap, right? And on the other segment of it, people are really moving towards an experience-led mobility because, mobility in India has matured a lot, but still, that core experience is missing. Like a car with a user, a personal car, 80% of the time it's like idle in a garage, right? And people actually are not getting a very dependable and a reliable service. So at TREV, I can share some trends that, approximately 60% of our rides are pre-planned. So people are okay to get into a pre-planned kind of a model if they are getting reliability and a good experience. And lately we have also seen that surge in kind of a recurring ride that, okay, I have to go to office every day. It's a very kind of a daily kind of a routine, and can you just set it up for the entire month? So all in all, I would say that, all things have to move ahead, and we have to change the way the mobility is working in India.
Thank you, Sharad. A question to the overall...
my name is Naveen otherwise. Thank you.
Oh, so sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. So, Naveen, very good points that you mentioned. So a question to the overall panel here is, as we bring this to a close, do you think when we talk about manufacturing, when we talk about battery management systems, and we talk about modern day innovations like shared mobility, do you think we are still, as an industry, working in silos, or do you think there's more partnerships taking place, and what needs to be done in the coming years to really drive the point home that when it comes to new age mobility, India is the place to be? This is the Viksit Bharat ecosystem. We can start with you, Uday.
Look, I think absolutely, I think we are working in silos. I think there has to be more alliances. There has to be, see, I think what we've got to do, I mean, we compare ourselves to China. We just can't. Those guys are competing at a different level. You know what? They put China first. I want to actually, all of us, to put India first, right? This is one of the things. You know, here most of us are thinking, what can the government do for us? I want to say, what can we do, you know, for the country? So I think it's extremely important that we work together. We work in building an ecosystem. We work to be, I tell again and again, guys, I was a fund manager, I've been in manufacturing, scale nahi aayega, to game nahi banegi. Jab tak I have seen, honestly, for the last 10 years, you've been here, you know, how many startups have come and gone and come and gone? You gotta be able to put scale. Whether it's BMS, whether it's you at TREV, whether it's OSM, or anybody else. And I think what we did, as you know, we've been in this game now for quite some time, I don't know if I call myself a startup, we built that, you know, that runway for the planes of the bigger boys and girls to take off. That's good. It will bring more volumes. It'll bring more green energy and sustainability to this country. We've got to, see, for example, I work in battery swapping with a couple of players. There's no homolog, you know, somebody's running, you know, Sun is running its own, Honda's running its own. I mean, why can't we all work together to build a bigger ecosystem?
Why can't we?
I think it's so inward thinking. I believe, I mean, I've built OSM on alliances nationally, internationally. I think more needs, I think the probability is we're so scared. Look at Tesla. Elon is saying, I'm having open source, right? Anybody can copy it. If they can do it better, it leads to the others to make a better product. I think that mentality has to change. So for me, if we want to put, for me, I got to put India first, always, right? And if I can, you know, I've left my home in Switzerland to come in the beautiful weather of Delhi, you know, which, you know, the AQI goes to whatever level they want to show at that time. But my point is that it is important, all of us in this industry, it doesn't have to be OEMs, it has to be up and down the chain. Everybody has to work together. If we work together and build a much bigger scale, I think that's when we're going to get a really clean and green India. And I think we need it. And I'll tell you, even if you don't care about green energy, the TCO model is showing you change to electric or other alternatives. I mean, Gadkari ji was here earlier. I was coming a bit later. But he's talking about hydrogen. He's talking about ethanol. He's talking about all these other things. And it's extremely important. See, oil went from 60 to 100. And all of us are shaken, right? Gas prices are up. Gas cylinders are up. Food is up. Logistics is up. It's time. If we don't work together at $150 or $200 oil, we're going to have some serious issues. So I don't think we have a choice. We have to do it.
Yeah, I think we have made a very meaningful progress. If we talk about now the synergy between the smart mobility, the energy systems, the manufacturing and the policies, we see a lot of synergy now what it was existing a couple of years back. So a lot of things are actually moving. And the policies like the PMA drive, who is pushing the localization mandates and also encouraging a lot of investment in this sector, is creating a lot of momentum. So while the policies are creating a very good momentum, as Uday mentioned, the need of ours is how we can have an integrated ecosystem. Like when we talk about the EV vehicle, it's not about the vehicle, it's about battery management, cell manufacturing, your power electronics, your manufacturing, your supply chain, and now the software. Some like Manmeet was talking about the software-defined vehicles, right? And then the reliability at scale in manufacturing. So, I mean, as you said very rightly, that scale can only be achieved when these all components are evolving at the same pace. If one is lagging, then we cannot have the scale. So that's how it is. And it's all about now how the integrated systems can move forward. Charging infrastructures, everything was talked about. Mr. Gadkari talked about charging infrastructure is there, but if the power price is more, 52 rupees he talked about, then it doesn't serve the purpose. So now the time is that when the OEMs, the cell manufacturers, the energy companies, the electronics companies, and the manufacturing, they all come together, they work in a very collaborative way, where the feedback loops can be closed very faster and the outcomes can come very fast. That's the need of the hour as of now. And I think for the Viksit Bharat, that is what, it's not only about making the low-cost batteries, but we need to make the energy systems which are actually, of course, affordable, dependable, and reliable and responsible by design. And that's where the full ecosystem comes into the picture.
Naveen.
Well, I have a very mobility-oriented kind of a viewpoint in this. So I've been tracking this for the last 3 years, and I've been doing it for the last 2 years. I see that a lot of things have improved. A lot of things are there. But still, it's not very lucrative for a lot of people to actually enter into a EV fleet, typically, right? I'll tell you some examples, right? So in your TCO model, as Uday mentioned, one of the biggest component is also that what is the resale value of this asset? And there's no standard answer to it. Like, there is no standard technology who can integrate batteries of various OEMs together, right? To give us a guarantee that, okay, after we have consumed, 3 lakh, 4 lakh kilometers, what is the kind of value I can put in my TCO model, in my financial modeling? And these are the kind of integrations which will definitely drive a lot of people to actually get into EV fleets. Secondly, what I feel is that, we focus a lot on outstation. So we are into premium cars, and our cars have a range of 400 kilometers. We have sent our vehicles as far as Pathankot and Udaipur, Lucknow, and Prayagraj and all. And I've seen that the moment the car is out of NCR, it becomes very difficult to plan. And the status of chargers which you have, you always need to have a plan B and plan C. While I met the NHEV guys, and they are doing wonderfully well. They have a grand plan that in all national highways, every 50 kilometers, there should be a charging hub and all. And we are all rooting for that. If it happens, that is the kind of level of integration which we want as EV fleet players, so that it's not only electrification of rides inside a city, intra-city, but actually the major impact on sustainability comes with the outstation rides. So those are my thoughts on a very mobility kind of front.
Thank you, Naveen. So what I understand is the Viksit Bharat ecosystem is happening. It's on its way, but if we just, all of us, figure out ways to accelerate it by just working with each other, it's just going to go on so much faster. And with everyone over here sharing this panel, I think you guys are the key drivers for that to happen in the coming years. It's happening for sure, but we just look forward to seeing how it pans out. Thank you so much for giving us time, requesting everyone a huge round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manav, for the conversation, and request you to be on stage and also to graciously keep our guests on the stage as well as we give them a token of appreciation. Please be on stage, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, please. Please accept a token of appreciation, and then we can have a nice group photo. Yes? Congratulations once again. Congratulations, and thank you for giving us this opportunity to having you here with us on this prestigious panel. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Manav, thank you to you as well.